Hey everybody, thought I would just make kind of a video going over my plans for this year. It's coming up on the time of year where I can start doing my house construction again. I didn't get my blocks done, obviously, before the winter set in, so that put me off. But I'm hoping to get the blocks done this summer. It takes me a while to do it because it's the first time I've done it, and you know, I can only lay maybe 12 blocks an hour because I take a few minutes at least on each block making sure that it's right. So I'm hoping to get that done before the fall because I can mill lumber anytime during the winter. It doesn't really matter on that. So as soon as I get the block work done, I can pretty much work on it, year round, finances providing. But really how fast I put the blocks in this summer is going to depend a lot on just how many bags of mortar I can afford to buy, at one time. So, say like 8 bags of mortar is like, $45 or maybe $50. And that 8 bags would probably take me through 2.5, maybe 3 days worth of work. So, hopefully I can get going on that. And within the next month, I'm going to get the shed done. I'm going to start working on it again just as soon as this round of rain decides that it's going to leave. And I'll put a little box right here showing the weather forecast. Or maybe I'll put it to the side. I'm not sure yet. But anyway, as you can see now, the weather looks terrible, and you can't really lay blocks when it's raining. So anyway, we'll get that done, and like I said, I hope to get the shed done. I'm going to get the shed done within the next month. It's just a matter of milling all the sideboards and everything. I'm really looking forward to making the door. That's going to be fun. But I don't have quite enough extension cord, I don't think, to reach the shed from the electric pole. I might have. I'll have to put them together and see, or measure it off. But I might use the nail gun. I might not. I kind of just like hammer and nails, so I might finish the shed off with a hammer and nails. So I'll get the shed done. The major obstacle with the shed has been milling those sideboards. And since I've started it with the rough bark edge showing, which I like the looks of that a lot. So that's the way I wanted it. But believe it or not, it's actually a little more difficult to mill those because of the type of chainsaw mill that I have. And the things you find out after you buy, decide which mill. There's 2 major ones. There's the Alaskan mill, the Granberg, and the Logasol timber jig, which I have. And the main differences in them is the timber jig uses a guide system which you make out of 1-bys to run the saw and the jig along the log to slab off your slabs for your first cuts and everything. The Granberg Alaskan mill has kind of a flat platform, and you would attach. A lot of people use a ladder or just anything totally flat, and you attach it and level it off and everything to the top of the log, and you just run it along the length of the log with the mill actually resting on the top of the log. And then once you have a flat surface on your log, you can just slab off, slab off, slab off, because the mill actually rests on the top part, where the timber jig actually rests kind of on the top and edge side, so it needs more of a, a squared edge to rest against instead of on top. Excuse me. So you can't really take slabs off the top of a log like you would the Alaskan mill, because the edge actually hits against the bark edge. And I'll go ahead and put in some visual aids showing that right now. So right here you can see the picture on the right. Actually, the arrows pointing at the bark edge. You can see how the log is rounded, and the bottom of the timber jig actually hits against that bark edge that sticks out. You'll notice on the picture on the left, if you have a squared edge, it can rest against and on top of the log the way it wants to. But if you've got a rounded log, you've got that bark edge sticking out, and it hits against it and it won't let it lay flat. So you can't just slab off one board after another like you can on the Alaskan mill. Now, that doesn't mean that the Alaskan mill is better necessarily. I like aspects of the timber jig more than what I've seen of the Alaskan mill. I like the guide system to take off the first few slabs. I don't really know. I guess the Alaskan mill sells like a separate little like edging mill thing. But from what I can tell, the Alaskan mill, you would, to make like a 2x8, you would just take your first slab off, at least to where the good wood is 8 inches wide at least, and then you would just drop down 2 inches and take off another slab. But then you still have to trim the bark edges to make your dimensional lumber. Where the timber jig, you just flip the log and put your rail back on there and take your next slab and flip it again, take your next slab, and then all you got to do is just lob your boards off. So in some ways the timber jig's better, some ways the Alaskan mill's better. I wish someone would take the best of both worlds and kind of put them together, and you'd really have something to work with. My point is, one of the main hurdles to doing the shed has been the siding boards, and what I found to work the best is to take the log and just split it in half. That way, when you lay them with the flat edge up, kind of like a bowl shape towards the bottom, I'll put in a little illustration right here showing this. But you just split the log directly in half, and then each half lay with the flat side up, and then I can slab the boards off, because as you can see in the picture where the arrow's pointing, the timber jig now will rest flat on the top surface, and anything below that curves in away from the edge guide. So that edge guide is literally only touching a half inch of bark, and it kind of goes in and out, and you have to kind of work with the saw and everything a little bit more than what you can't just run it straight down the thing. You kind of have to rock and move in and out with the bark and everything. But I've found this to be the best system, so that you're not having to use the guide 2 or 3 times. I'll show the first image again over here. The image on the left will show how I started out making the siding boards. I would square off 2 edges and then have 1 bark edge, and I would cover the squared edge and only leave the bark edge. which you can do it that way, but just splitting the log in half saves an entire step. So that's how I found to be the best way to do that. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to get it done. Really looking forward to making the door. It's going to be awesome. But other than that, I mean, you know, there's always the normal stuff. I'm going to have to mow out there. First, I got to fix the mower. But I have to mow everything down out there because it's like wild out there. It grows up, you know, chest high. So I got to mow it all down. I still have to take care of the garden all throughout the summer, and you know, continue with my building. So okay, so I have to kind of keep cutting up the video here because the baby's crying once in a while. He's not a happy camper today. So anyways, however anxious you guys are to get back into building the house, you know, I'm even more so. So we're gonna get back into that. So the plans for the summertime: finish laying the block in the house, and I have to dig the holes down the center length of the house for the I don't know what it's called, but 4-inch wide beam that goes down the center, and then all the floor joists will lay, you know, on top of that center beam. But I got to dig all the holes for the concrete supports down the center. But anyways, we're going to hopefully finish the the block work, and I don't know if I'm going to go up with that back side or not. I wish I could. I just don't know that I can afford it, but we'll see. Anyway, I hope to get the block work done. I'm going to get the shed done within the next month. Take care of the garden. We're going to, in the summertime when it's time, you know, we're going to can our own pickles again this year because we loved them. I think I've still got maybe like 6 jars of pickles left. But I think we did like 38 jars or something like that of them last year. But we'll go through all that, you know, taking care of the garden, and basically that's about it. Block work, shed, garden, busy summer.